your picture by my bed, like it could still look back at me. Like paper smiles could somehow prove you were who you used to be. I replayed our favorite song, let it echo through the room, pretending if I sang along you walk back in too soon. You said we just needed space, time to clear our heads, but space turned into miles apart and silence filled the rest. I kept defending what we had to everyone but me, calling it a rough patch when it was just you leaving. I felt your fingers slipping slow, but I refused to let you go. I held on to nothing, like it was something real, clung to broken promises and the way you used to feel. I built my hope on empty words, oh maybe we'll see. I was loving what was gone while you were already free. I held on to nothing and called it love with me. I memorized your old texts, the ones where you say always. Ignore the ones that slowly changed to shorter, colder phrases. I noticed when your eyes would drift somewhere far from mine, but I told myself that love just bends sometimes with time. You stopped reaching for my hand, stopped saying my name the same, but I kept trying to revive a slowly dying flame. I blame the stress, the world, the noise, anything but truth, anything but facing that I was losing you. I stayed inside a memory while you stepped into reality. I held on to nothing, to a love that wasn't there, to the ghost of who you used to be and the way you used to care. I was fighting for a heartbeat that had already gone. I was holding in on yours long after you moved on. I held on to nothing, and it kept breaking me. Maybe I was scared to fall into the empty space, scared that if I let you go there'd be no one in your place. Maybe loving you felt safer than learning how to heal, even if the only thing I had was something I couldn't feel. It's hard to say goodbye when you're still standing near, when the person that you love is just no longer here. You didn't leave all at once, you faded piece by piece, and I kept stitching shadows, trying to find some peace. Off the clear now, I wasn't holding you, I was holding on to who I wished you still were. I held on to nothing until my hands were sore, begging for a love that wasn't mine anymore. I you. You were never easy to hold, always halfway out the door, carrying storms inside your chest you never talked about before. I learned the language of your silence, every shadow in your eyes, every time you built a wall and called it just surviving life. I told myself that patience was another word for love. If I stayed a little longer, you would finally open up. But every time you push me back, I step closer to the flame, burning just to keep you warm, losing pieces of my name. I saw the red flags in the wind, but I chose not to run. I loved you despite everything, despite the hurt you'd always bring, despite the nights I cried alone, waiting by a silent phone, despite the truth I tried to hide, that I was breaking deep inside. I held your heart like porcelain. I loved you despite everything. You said you weren't good at love, said you'd only let me down, but I thought that if I stayed I could turn your world around. I made excuses for your distance, for every cold and careless word. I painted over cracks so wide, pretending they were never there. You only called me when you needed somewhere safe to fall apart, but when I needed you the same, you disappeared into the dark. And every time I almost left, you pulled me back with I still care, just enough to keep me hoping, not enough to really be there. I kept believing love was strong enough for both our hearts. I loved you despite everything, despite the doubt you'd always bring, despite the tears I couldn't show, despite the truth I used to know. I gave you more than I could spare, you gave me almost nothing there. Still I stayed through stormy weather. I loved you despite everything. Maybe I thought if I proved my worth, you'd finally choose to stay. Maybe I thought unconditional could make your demons go away, but love should never feel like war, or begging just to be enough. It shouldn't feel like holding on when the other hand lets go too much. And now I see what I refused. You loved me only when it was easy, while I loved you at your worst, even when you didn't need me. I memorize your broken pieces, try to make them part of mine, but you can't fix someone who's comfortable crossing every line. I loved you despite everything, despite the pain you'd always bring, despite the nights I lost myself, putting your heart above my health. I was loyal to a fault, carrying more than my own weight of salt. I gave you all I had to give. I loved you despite everything. silence be? How to stop confusing suffering with what love's supposed to mean. I don't regret the heart I gave, even if it broke in the end, because I know the kind of love I have loved you despite everything. I told you things I never said out loud, secrets buried deep beneath my skin. I let you see the fragile parts I always swore I'd never give. You knew the cracks inside my smile, the reasons I can't sleep at night. I trusted you with every fear. I used to hide from the light. You held my shaking hands and said I never used your tears, but somehow every weakness became a weapon through the years. I thought that love meant honesty, no armor, no disguise, but I was standing open-hearted while you were calculating lies. I gave her all the softest parts of me. You gave me reasons not to be. I stayed too vulnerable with you, believed in everything you do, left my heart without a shield on a battlefield you never healed. I showed you where it hurt the most, and you got closer than you're supposed. I thought that love was beautiful, but I stayed too vulnerable. You pulled me in when you felt lost, let me fix a broken days. When I needed you the same, you slowly turned away. You memorized my soft confessions, every scar and every doubt, and used them in our arguments. Whenever you'd lash out, you'd say you're just too sensitive, like feelings were a crime, like loving without walls around me was some kind of design flaw of mine. I shrank myself to make you safe, dim my voice and dim my light, trying not to be too much while you were never quite enough. I thought if I stayed gentle, you would handle me with care, but I stayed too vulnerable with you, believed your promises were true, let you hold my beating heart while you slowly tore it apart. I showed you all my insecurities, trusted you with every piece of me. I felt that love was mutual, but I stayed too vulnerable. Maybe being soft isn't wrong, maybe loving hard is brave, but it hurts when you give someone the power they misuse to break. I don't regret the truth I shed or every tear you saw me cry. I regret believing openness would mean you'd never say goodbye. You said I felt too deeply, like that was something small, but I'd rather feel too much and feel nothing at all. Soft breakdown, now I'm learning how to open up. We now losing who I am, how to guard my tender heart without turning it to stone again. but I stay too vulnerable. And maybe one day someone will hold my heart more careful than you. But at least I stayed real, and someday that will heal. I waited by the window light, watching headlights pass the street. Every sound made my heart jump, hoping it was your heartbeat. I kept your side of the closet full, like you were coming back someday. Folded all my pride away, just in case you chose to stay. I replayed our last goodbye, searching for a hidden sign, a crack inside your steady voice that meant you still were mine. But hope can be a cruel thing when it's built on broken ground, and I kept building castles where no love could be found. I thought if I just held on tight, your heart would turn around. But love didn't return to me, no matter how I tried to believe, no matter how I prayed at night or held your memory tight. I gave you space, I gave you time, I crossed every painful line. I left the door wide open, but love didn't return. You said you needed clarity, you said your heart was torn in two, but somehow in that space apart it only untied from me, not you. I watched your world keep spinning, saw your laughter slowly bloom, while mine was stuck in yesterday inside our empty room. I blame myself for everything, for loving you too much, if it doesn't choose you back, it's not love that's meant to last. Soft breaks a new name into empty air, but echoes don't answer when nobody's there. Love didn't return to stay, didn't find its way back home one day, didn't ache the way I did, didn't break the way mine did. I gave you all my heart, couldn't learn, watched every last bridge burn. I waited while the pages turned, but love didn't return. Not because I don't love you anymore, but because my heart deserves a love that chooses it for sure. I waited, I hoped, I yearned, but love didn't return. And finally, I am learning not to wait for it. We didn't scream, we didn't fight. No shattered glass, no final goodbye. Just quiet words between two hearts, too tired to even ask why. Your suitcase waited by the door, like it had always known the truth. The love was slowly losing breath inside the silence of this room. I try to memorize your face, the way your lashes touched your skin, knowing I would miss the little things more than all the ways we've been. We said maybe someday soon, but we both knew what that meant. It was just a softer way to say, this is really where it ends. I felt it in my trembling hands, the moment slipping through. The end felt heavy on my chest, like all our memories wouldn't rest, like every promise we once made turned into weight I couldn't take. I tried to breathe, but love was gone. Still my heart kept holding on. You walked away so steady, but the end felt heavy. Your voice was calm, almost kind, like breaking me was gentle work. You said it's better this way now, like that would make it hurt less. I nodded like I understood, like I was strong enough to stand. But every word you softly said was slipping like sand from my hands. And we didn't cry the way I thought, no desperate kiss to change your mind. Just two people standing still while love unraveled over time. You didn't look back from the hall, and maybe that's what hurt the most. Not the leaving, not the loss, but how easily you let me go. I felt my whole world shift that day, but you were already gone. The end felt heavy in my bones, like I was carrying it alone, like every laugh we used to share hung frozen in the but the end felt heavy. Maybe love doesn't always shatter. Maybe sometimes it just fades like colors draining from a picture we were too afraid to save. I kept thinking you would call, say you made a big mistake, but silence answered every night with more than I could take. Was I that easy to release? Was forever just a word? Did you practice leaving me long before I ever heard? I still set your side of the bed out of habit, not belief. It's strange how endings linger long after the relief. The end felt heavy on my soul, like loving you had taken its toll. Like all the dreams we built together collapsed in silent weather. You say time will make it light, but it feels heavier each night. You walked away so steady, but the end felt heavy. I'm still underneath it. One day this weight may turn to air. One day your name won't hurt to hear. But tonight I lie awake instead, haunted by the words you said. We didn't scream, we didn't fight, we just slowly said goodnight. Somehow that felt heavier than if we had broken everything in sight. Night love left, it didn't slam the door, didn't shatter glass across the floor. It slipped out softly like a thief while I was clinging to belief. You were sitting right beside me then, but miles away behind your eyes. I felt the warmth turn into air, about the bills, about the day. Anything to keep from saying what was fading anyway. I should have seen it in your touch, how it lingered less and less, like holding me was just a habit you were ready to forget. I felt it in the quiet space where your heartbeat used to be. That was the night love left, without a warning, without a fight. It packed its bags in silence and disappeared into the night. I tried to hold what wasn't there, tried to breathe you back to life, but you were already somewhere else. The night love left my side. The lamp was glowing dim and low, casting shadows on the wall. I remember thinking to myself, we weren't us at all. Your I love you sounded strange, like words you had rehearsed, like something you were saying out of kindness, not from hurt. I searched your face for something real, a crack, a tear, a plea, but you were calm and steady while the ground gave way beneath me. I wanted you to grab my hand, to say we'd be okay, but you just let the silence stretch until it carried you away. It wasn't loud, it wasn't cruel, it was just the simple truth. That was the night love left, when your kiss felt like goodbye, when I could see the ending in the corners of your eyes. I felt my whole world shifting, but you stood there unafraid. You had already let me go. The night love slipped away. Maybe love doesn't always burn. Maybe sometimes it just goes cold. Two hearts lying side by side, with nothing left to hold. I would have fought through every storm, through every doubt and fear, but I can't be the only one still wishing you were here. It hurts more than screaming matches, more than doors slammed tight, to lose someone so quietly in the middle of the night. I still replay that moment when I felt your distance grow. The second I realized I was loving you alone. I reached for you in the dark, but only touched the sheets. It's strange how someone can be there and still feel incomplete. That was the night love left and took my safety with it too. Left me staring at the ceiling with nothing left to lose. I whispered, please don't go, but you were already gone. I stayed inside the wreckage while you moved calmly on. That was the night love left, and I'm still here. Now every night feels longer, every silence feels the same. I still sleep on your side and wake up to the pain. The night love left, it didn't shout, it barely even wept. It just walked out quietly, and I haven't slept since it left. I held your hand through stormy nights, stayed awake through all your fights. I carried pieces of your pain, hoping love would stay the same. I gave you all I had to give, kept believing we could live in a world that tried to pull apart the fragile edges of our hearts. But I saw it slowly start to fade, the promises that we had made. You looked at me with empty eyes and left our future in disguise. I thought love could bend, I thought love could stay, but you chose a different way. You didn't choose us, didn't fight for what we made, didn't stay when the colors turned gray. I gave my heart, my I kept our photos on the wall, played our songs through the hall, spoke your name into the dark, hoping it could ignite a spark. I tried to fix the broken parts, carried your weight alongside mine, ignored the cracks inside your heart to make our love feel fine. But you left without a single fight, took your silence, left the light, and I'm learning the hardest truth. Love alone is not enough to prove. I thought patience could make you stay, I thought hope could guide your way, but you didn't choose to stay. You didn't choose us, didn't fight for what we made, didn't stay when the colors turned gray. I gave my heart, my everything, but you let it fall and walked away. I stayed standing through the dust, holding on to what we lost, but you didn't choose us. Maybe I was too strong, too soft. Maybe I gave too much too often, but love is never meant to feel like I was begging for your hand. I stayed through every storm, every lie, every doubt, every tear, but you were choosing every time to disappear when I needed you near. And now I see the cruelest part. It wasn't fate or chance or us, it was simply the truth of your heart, and you didn't choose us. I whisper your name in empty rooms, I replay the laughter, the light, the tunes. I kept believing love could last, but it was gone, slipping fast. You didn't choose us, didn't fight for what we made, didn't stay when the colors turned gray. I gave my heart, my everything, but you let it fall and walked away. I stayed standing through the dust, clinging to what we lost, but you didn't choose us. Maybe one day I'll forgive, maybe I'll let my heart relive, but tonight I'm learning the cost of a love I gave to someone who lost. You didn't choose us, and I'll learn to choose me. I saw your shadow on the wall tonight. It looked like you were holding me tight, but when I reached into the dark, there was nothing but an empty heart. The clock keeps ticking way too loud, your silence screaming through the house. I traced your name across my phone, but every word feels so alone. You said you needed time to breathe, but you forgot to take me with you when you leave. And now I'm learning how it feels to love someone who never heals. I stayed awake for your late night call, but you were fine without me at all. You didn't miss me when I was gone, didn't wonder why my heart moved on, didn't feel the space I left in your bed, or the quiet tears I never said. I was breaking quietly while you were sleeping peacefully. I thought losing you would make you see. loving me was just a phase you outgrew in a couple days. I thought my absence would be loud, but I was just another cloud. You didn't miss me when I was gone, didn't play our favorite song, didn't drive by my old street or feel my ghost in every seat. I was drowning in memories. You were out there feeling free. I thought my tears would make you weep, but you didn't miss me. Maybe I loved you way too deep, gave you parts I couldn't keep. Maybe I was just too sure that what we had was something pure. Did I mean less than I believe? Was I that easy to release? Tell me how you closed the door without looking back once more. 'Cause every night I fight the truth that I was never what you would choose. And now the hardest thing to see is you're not hurting like me. I still miss you in every little thing I do, but the hardest part of moving on is knowing I was never the one you lose. You didn't miss me when I was gone, didn't feel the love withdraw, didn't ache when I let go, like I was someone you don't know. I was breaking into pieces, begging God for small releases. I thought my leaving would set you free, but you were already free from me. You didn't miss me, you didn't miss me, and that's what's killing me. Now I'm learning how to stand alone in a house that doesn't feel like home. And maybe one day I'll finally see why you didn't miss me. We used to talk until the sunrise, now we barely say goodnight. Your eyes don't search for mine anymore, you don't hold me half as tight. There was a time you couldn't wait to tell me about your day. Now I hear about your life from things you never say. Your kisses turned to distant air, your laughter lost my name. Somewhere between the I love yous we stopped feeling the same. I get water in a dying rose, praying it would change, but love don't live forever if only one heart stays. I felt you slipping through my hands, but you just let it go. You let love fade without a fight, watched it disappear from sight. Didn't try to hold it close, didn't want what mattered most. I was begging you to stay, you were drifting miles away. I gave you all of me, but you let love fade. I asked you if we're still okay, you said we're just growing up, but growing shouldn't feel like slowly giving up. You stopped reaching for my hand when we crossed the street, stopped saving me a space beside you on your passenger seat. I memorized your silence, learned the language of your sighs. Every nothing's wrong you whisper was another small goodbye. I try to be the better one, stronger than my fears, but I can't carry us forever on a heart full of tears. I was stay. You let love fade without a sound. Didn't try to turn around. Didn't chase the falling spark, let it die there in the dark. I was holding every thread, you were halfway out instead. I gave you all I gave. You let love fade. Maybe love don't always break. Maybe sometimes it just grows cold. Two people standing side by side with nothing left to hold. I would have fought through every storm, through every doubt and every scar, but I can't be the only one still wishing on a star. You say it's just how feelings change, like it's no one's fault at all. But love don't simply fade away when you answer every call. It fades when you stop choosing me, when effort turns to none, when forever turns to maybe, and us turns into one. I still hear your promises echo down the hall. Funny how the quiet now is louder than it all. You let love fade like it was light, like it wasn't worth the fight, like we were just a passing flame, like I was easy to replace. I was ready to be brave, you were digging out a grave. I gave you all I gave, but you let love fade, and I'm still feeling the weight of everything we let slip away. Maybe one day you'll look back at what we used to be and wonder how you walked away so easily. I was willing to stay through every shade, every mistake, but you let love fade. We used to talk until the sunrise, laugh about the smallest things. Your trace forever on my shoulder, like it meant everything. Your hands would always find my face, like I was all you'd ever need. You said my heart was your safe place, your only home, your missing piece. I never had to ask for love, you gave it freely, wild and warm. Back when we were brave enough to promise more than just the storm. But somewhere in the quiet months, the colors slowly tore. You don't look at me the same like you did before. I still remember how it felt when I was what you wanted most. You loved me before the distance grew, before the silence filled the room, and I stopped reaching you. You held me like I was the only one, like we'd already won the war. Now I'm just a memory of who you loved before. used to kiss me in the kitchen, dance with me in emptied halls. Now we barely brush our fingers when we pass each other's walls. I try to spark the old connection, say the words you used to say, but they fall between us softly and slowly fade away. You say that nothing's really wrong, that this is how love grows, but love shouldn't feel like standing next to someone you don't know. I miss the way you said my name, like it was something sacred, pure. Now it sounds so unfamiliar, like I'm not yours anymore. I keep chasing who we were while you lied or disappear. You loved me before, when my touch made you stay, when my tears would shake you and you begged them not to fall that way. You swore I was your forever. What were those promises for? Was that just the right love then that you outgrew later on? You loved me before. You loved me before. Ooh, did I change or did you? Was it something I didn't see? Did comfort turn to boredom when you got too used to me? I would've fought for every heartbeat, every crack we could repair, but you can't fix a fading love if the other heart's not there. It hurts more than goodbye to slowly be replaced, to feel someone still beside you but not feel their embrace. You didn't leave in one night, you left in little ways. In every quiet moment, you stopped choosing me each day. Hearts break them, I still sleep on your side sometimes, just to remember how it felt when I was the one you held. You loved me before my heart turned sore, before I had to beg for hands that once reached out for more. You looked at me like I was whole, like I was what you were living for. Now I'm just the girl you used to love, the girl you loved before. Maybe I'll learn to let it be, that not all love is meant to stay, but it's hard to accept how easily feelings change. You loved me before, and I still love you now. That's what